Hi, I'm Gary Orr. I'm Chief Executive of Yarlington Housing Group. Once a year we hold a stakeholder event, and it's tremendously important in our view to invite our partner organisations into Yarlington to get a sense of how we're doing, how the organisation is performing in partnership with these key organisations, to get a sense of what the priorities are going forward, to foster new relationships, but ultimately to take our organisation forward. So in the stakeholder event, each year when we hold our stakeholder event, we make sure that there's plenty of time on the agenda for conversation, for networking, to get a sense of what we can do better collectively together. So we've invited near on 100 key organisations that work very closely with us. And certainly throughout the day, we'll make sure that next year's improvement plan is populated with the views and priorities of our stakeholders going forward.
I'm Sarah Hind. I'm from Clark Wilmot Solicitors.
What were your impressions of today?
I thought it was a really fantastic day. I thought it was very inspirational and a really good opportunity to get to know some of the other partners that you work with.
And what would you like to see Yarlington do next?
All I can say is carry on doing what you're doing. I think it's a really, really good job, and it's just really nice to see some different approaches to sort of thinking on how to take things forward, looking at some of the root causes rather than just building houses, and I think that's fantastic.
How would you like Yarlington to be more involved with your business?
That's a difficult one. Firm of solicitors, we'd like to do more for you. I think in terms of just strengthening the partnership and strengthening some of the relationships that we have, because that's really key to what we do, and we're certainly working towards that.
I'm Kim Close. I'm from South Somerset District Council.
What were your impressions of today?
I thought it was excellent. I thought it was really interesting to see how the thinking and the thought process and the atmosphere had moved on from last year. So that was, very interesting.
Okay. And what would you like Yarlington to do next?
Well, I think you've got a lot of ideas and you need to work on refining them and identifying the things that are going to add most value. Coming from the District Council, I see a lot of opportunities for working jointly. I definitely think that we could work on some things like work placements, pooling resources. We do a lot of community development work within the District Council, and I know you do too. I think there's great opportunities for us to work together there.
Jean Adkins. I'm an Executive Councillor for Housing Services at Taunton Deane, so I'm an elected member.
Okay. And what were your impressions of today?
Oh, very interesting speaker, and I loved the music. Into elbow now. And the interactive questions were fun.
Okay. And what would you like Yarlington to do next?
Well, this is something obviously I've been thinking about during the morning. They've only just started working with us in Taunton Deane, so it's a new relationship. I'm reluctant to see you starting to expand out to Bristol and Exeter and that. I think rather they focused on the core, because if you're already expanding into Taunton Deane, spreading sort of too far is. But the idea around the fixed term tenancies and the contract with the tenants, I think, is brilliant. And when you've done your pilot, I should be very interested in some feedback on it, because Taunton Deane's got its own retained housing stock. We still have council houses, and of course we have a debate going on now as to whether we should offer fixed term tenancies or not. So interesting times in housing.
And how would you like Yarlington to be more involved with your business?
Well, as I say, it's a new partnership now, so we're only just getting off the ground. So I think we have to wait and see how it develops at the moment, but very keen on working in partnership with Yarlington.
What is your name?
Ken Mortimer.
Okay, and what company are you from?
Devon Britton, we're solicitors. We're one of your panel solicitors.
Okay. And what are your impressions of today?
Very good. It's useful to find out where you're going and where you are. I mean, I've been coming here for about 4 years now, and it's a huge change, but yes, good.
Okay. And what would you like to see Yarlington do next?
Well, you can't stand still, and I think diversification is probably one route you're going to have to look at, which you are. But it's making sure you get it right.
And how would you like Yarlington to be more involved with your business?
Well, we're lawyers. We just say, give us more work. No, that's not. It's in law firms, there's a huge amount of expertise in a lot of areas. And one of the things that lawyers are very bad at giving, and clients don't realise they should ask, is that lawyers can bring a lot of commercial experience to organisations, including housing associations.
Alison Buckingham from Bevan Britton again, the solicitors.
And what were your impressions of today?
It was really, really helpful. I've only recently become involved with Yarlington, so extremely interesting to see what you're planning to do and where you're going.
Yeah.
And the move into dealing with the need rather than the supply. So trying to sort out what's coming up rather than just deal with the problem when it arises. That was quite interesting.
How would you like? What would you like Yarlington to do next?
That seems to be a really interesting thing to do, because I think that's what other public bodies are thinking of doing, local authorities and so on. It's trying to sort out the problem before it arises and to actually deal at that level rather than just throwing more and more money at trying to deal with the top end. So you've got to reduce your 26,000 either by making the houses turn around more so that more people get into them, or just simply sort of helping the community groups to move forward with what they're doing. We do quite a lot of schemes with schools and things of interview training, CV training and that sort of thing. So that's a rather dry but actually quite important thing that we help with.
My name's Jeremy Damrell. I work for EDF Energy, based in their King Square office in Bridgewater, and my interest is in the Hinkley C new nuclear power station.
And what were your impressions of today?
Oh, very good. Yeah, very thought-provoking. I think there's lots of interesting things that Yarlington can do, and that I'd like to think EDF Energy can do with Yarlington, particularly around, I'm probably jumping your questions.
That's fine, don't worry.
Particularly around the upskilling and employment opportunities for the people living in Yarlington properties.
And what would you like Yarlington to do next?
I think they need to plough on with all the good things that were suggested today, really. I think there's quite a few innovative ideas that were put forward, and I look forward to seeing how they develop over the next year. Very much stepping away from a traditional model of a housing, in my mind, traditional model of a housing association, which is simply providing a room, providing a home for someone, and moving into providing something which is of much more worth to a community. It's an interesting change of dimension.
I'm Janet. I'm from Asda in Yeovil.
What were your impressions of today?
It was very informative and very interesting, because I'm the community person from Asda, community life champion they call me, and hopefully Yarlington and Asda can get more involved in community projects together.
And what would you like Yarlington to do next?
I think just to get in a closer working relationship would be nice. I think it's more about, from my point of view, the community side, so we can do projects together. Things mainly like that, really.
Yeah. What is your name?
Rosemary Leaf.
And what were your impressions of today?
They were good, and I thought Roger opened the proceedings brilliantly, and I thoroughly enjoyed, our guest speaker, and his emphasis, on young families, because it's all part of Yarlington's building communities.
And what would you like to see Yarlington do next?
I think build on their household ambition plan, but I'm also very involved with Yarlington, and I'm a tenant of Yarlington's, and I'm also the lead tenant on their older persons focus group. And I want to continue Yarlington to continue to keep older people very much in focus. We've talked a lot about the young today, which is brilliant. For instance, we could actually evolve a scheme whereby local schools, we could get some of our really older residents to perhaps mentor some of the young from the school. And, things like that. We could perhaps bring the old and the new young rather together. That's what I'd like to see.
I'm James Duval. I'm from South Somerset District Council.
What were your impressions of today?
Very good, actually. Yeah. I was here a year ago when the strategy was launched, so it's good to see some of the case studies and things that's happened.
Yeah, and what would you like to see Yarlington do next?